Hi, can you have? Well, it seems very exciting, Shekhar. I think especially first I have to congratulate all the young talent that actually platformed their talent for the very first time. Like you said, that most of them haven't been on a stage before, so congratulations to all of them. Young, vibrant energy is always welcome in any entertainment industry. I was very intrigued by the AV you showed us about, the modalities of how to work this entire talent online concept that you're introducing, which is the very first, I think, in our entertainment industry. And I think it's going to open various doors to so much talent that would otherwise go unnoticed. And I think since it's a click away, it gives you that one-on-one contact with that talent. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
On today, it was very fresh. It was very energetic. And the AV that I saw, I think this is an outstanding model that you have created. And it's going to solve a lot many problems that one always thought existed and didn't know how to solve them. And I think it's all there, not only for someone who's talented and looking for work, but also for someone who's trying to source the right talent for his or her job. I think, Karan, if you remember our acting years,
Indradosh, right?
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Somebody told me about that recently.
I've actually, a lesser known fact that I think Ashutosh and I were in the same scene together, which I'm really embarrassed about. I don't know about him. But then subsequently, I think we're just better off as filmmakers, especially with my disastrous debut recently. I think I shouldn't talk about my acting at all.
So one went to so many offices. This is a series called Indradhanush, Mr. Anand Mahendru.
Yeah.
So one has went to a lot of offices and looking for work and all of that. And I wish when I was acting, your portal was existing then. It would have been a great help.
Yeah. Prahlad sir, I know you've got 40 years of experience of seeing this from where people would actually take it to their offices in, folio to even today.
True. We used to get lots of young people coming to office with photographs. Some touched, some not touched, and some we couldn't understand why, and we had drawers full of them. And I remember all our trainees were given this job of sorting out all the rejects and the maybes and the have-beens, into little piles, and then sending. Mine was the only office that actually didn't bin the rejects. We actually sent them back.
Oh, great.
Because there were addresses at the back, we actually posted them back and said, listen, sorry, but I don't think we can do anything with you, at this stage, because they were just photographs. There was no talent, thing. You had to call them for a test. You had to do all kinds of things. Yeah. And we were known in the industry, especially in the advertising industry, for our original casting, because we were among the few people who actually broke that barrier that all models in advertising have to be good looking.
Yeah. No, and that's a great point, sir.
Because today what has happened is that advertising is looking for real people, not just good looking people. I have only good looking people. It takes you 3 days to shoot a commercial with about 500 takes.
So I'll ask you to hold that thought, because I'm going to pick on that in a second in terms of real characters. And I want to come to Salim, who, one of the reasons why we built this was to build the industry's first end-to-end technology platform, right, that allowed you to manage your talent pipeline from profiling to online auditions to selection to final auditions to casting. And I know you've traveled the world in the music space, in particular, looking at so many different types of talents. I wanted you to take that perspective and put it to what you saw.
I think it's phenomenal. The most important thing I feel is there's so much talent which is outside Mumbai. A lot of people just come to Mumbai thinking, this is the place we're going to get a chance to sing. This is the place where we're going to get a chance to score a film but you don't need to come to Mumbai with this kind of a portal. You can be in Ghaziabad, you can be in Bengal, you can be anywhere, and showcase what you have. As a matter of fact, sometimes when I go outside India, I see so much. There's so much of music out there, especially Indians, Pakistanis, who, they're great musicians, they're great singers, but there's absolutely no industry there for them. They want to come to Bollywood. That's their dream. They want to do something in the Indian music industry, in Indian film industry, but how? Yeah. How would they connect with, And imagine these people, they have day jobs and stuff like that, but they're fantastic singers. They're great artists. Some of them are great musicians. They play, instruments like sitar, and they don't speak a word of Hindi. But when it comes to singing, they can sing beautifully, whether it's a thumri, whether it's a rag-based thing, whether it's anything. Right. And they want to, that's their dream. They want to just kind of sing one film song, or they want to be recognized. They want to come to Mumbai to, to maybe just sing a little bit in the advertising industry or something like that. Yeah. So it's for them, a portal like this is really phenomenal. They don't really need to come to Mumbai. Yeah. All they need to do is just do this video or audio clip or whatever, and that's it. If they have something, there's so much going on Facebook, but then Facebook also has a lot of other garbage which you don't want to read and go through. Right. So if this is talent centric, and if there's a portal which is dedicated like TN. It really solves a lot of problems, and a lot of it really gets them what they need, what they desire.
So you hit on two of the buzzwords or key things that we believe in, which I'm going to kind of turn to Mr. Nair to talk about a little bit. Is the purpose of the platform from a talent discovery perspective is to make it more efficient and effective, right? And sir, you go through hundreds of shows a week in terms of pilots and demos.
AV was really nice, and it's a brilliant idea. I'm surprised no one has done it yet. We've had ideas like this before in the past, but it's never really come together. I think modern technology allows that to happen.
Our brands are predominantly on digital. So for us, we look at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter as Tata Sky and Dish TV, and we want to build media brands on top of them. And because of the fact that it's as simple to get in touch with our brands by just clicking on message, we get a whole bunch of people sending in auditions and show reels. There's a lot of noise, and if everybody wants to be cast in the next every Bombay girl in the world or every Delhi girl in the world, we tend to do now is that we just actually have to go through all of that, and that takes a lot of effort because that's a lot of people from across India sending a variety of content towards us, and this actually I think is a good way to filter out the signal from the noise.
Yeah, no, that's definitely sure. I'm going to ask a couple of pointed questions here. So Ashutosh sir, you've made such great large films where principal characters and cult characters have come alive, like Kachra and Goli. How would you think about using this platform to find those kind of characters?
You mean by sheer casting?
By sheer casting, yeah.
No, earlier what I did, as in right up to my recent film, is I would go on the various channels on television and look at the regional programming that is existing. And from the regional programming, you're able to see so many actors who, for some reason or the other, have not been able to make it to Mumbai. Probably financially they've not been able to come, or some others feel that there's no point in going to Mumbai. And I've most of the times gone in there and got my talent from there. But that's a very time-consuming process. It's been, they've all been always very pleasantly surprised to know that, they've been contacted in this manner. A platform like yours, what it helps us do is, it's a click away now. I'm hoping it will be a click away, because the way you've created it, I was quite surprised the detailing that you have done. And I look forward to now, even for casting directors, the access for them becomes much, much easier. Because otherwise, Mumbai becomes the hub. You always are making available actors that are here in the vicinity. The moment you think of an actor who's from Malihabad, you're like, who's going to now try and reach out to that person, get him here and audition? What if you don't like the person? All those kind of questions arise. So I think this is going to be great.
What Ashutosh is talking about is actually very true, because we cast Smita Patil from a Marathi news channel. That was the first time Shyam actually saw her. We all saw her and said, wow, there's a charisma about her, there's an aura. And though she's just a news reader, she projected herself brilliantly. And the rest was history. Because the first film that she ever did was Charandas Chor, and which was a little village film which was on a play, in Chhattisgarh, for that matter. And after that, of course, she became whatever she became. But she was cast from a Marathi news channel, which some of our light boys and peons used to watch on a regular basis. And they were the ones who told Sir, look at this girl, she's absolutely smashing. And that's how she was cast. Basically, what Ashutosh is talking about is true, but what your thing is going to do is going to open up a whole lot of possibilities. Now, you look at the verticals that exist today in terms of possibilities. The film industry, at its best, is still a moms and pop shop. Okay? So its casting is done through people who are useless relatives. Okay? And so somebody's bhai, bhatija, useless chap, some drug addict, some guy who's come back from rehab, acha usko dal do. Because they actually believe that you do not really need real talent for male actors to succeed. Okay? The women are all from outside. And the reason why the women are from outside is because nobody wants, still there's a stigma about putting your daughter into the movie industry. So they don't mind somebody else's daughter being in the movie industry. But you don't want to put your own daughter into the movie industry. Now, this is the hard truth. I mean, what I'm saying is existing for the last 50 years or 100 years, and there's residues of it coming through even now. There are lots of young producers and directors who are willing to experiment. But the hardcore industry actually doesn't want to cast new people. They want somebody who's established, somebody who's already there, somebody who's going to be their ticket to ride and who's going to give them an initial, which is what they call it. Okay? But there's so many verticals now opening up. There's Netflix, there's entertainment on the phone, there's serials, there's a whole lot of people who are now not just going to watch movies.
So ये आपका जो casting का comment है, I actually want to ask.
This is going to open up the whole Pandora's box.
Well, I hope it's not Pandora's box. I hope it's a box of flowers and
Well,
roses.
part of it will be Pandora's box, but part of it will not.
What the hey, But I'm going to ask Karan to comment a little bit because he is the most prominent discoverer of talent, I think, globally. And, Karan, if you could take a few minutes to kind of opine on two things, right? One is the discovery of talent that this portal can do, and two is what is going to be the impact of content creation when a portal like this gives you accessibility to talent globally?
Firstly, I think in the zone of casting vis-a-vis movies, I think a lot has changed, and in the last decade specifically. I think there was a zone in the about the useless relatives. But I think, fortunately, I never had any useless relatives, so I didn't have to bring them onto celluloid at all. But I do understand what he probably means is nepotism, which I think is fairly active in the film fraternity, and that's something that we have to acknowledge and accept on all levels. But I think recently, and I think Ashutosh will share that with you, and especially directors like Ashutosh have done some fantastic, supporting casting, and that have actually gone on to create memorable characters. And in the last decade, I've noticed I would say, the initiation of the casting director who has acquired prominence. There is actually, it used to otherwise be something very ad hoc. Just like Ashutosh said, he used to go on and, kind of look at regional television. All of us used to kind of do the same thing. We used to go on television, or we used to go and just see who were in other movies. It wasn't really a structured network created in the zone of casting, which has been a recent phenomenon. And I think now the casting director actually has acquired frontline credit, and also and so many of them have been responsible, be it Mukesh Chhabra or be it Shanu Sharma, be it, I think recently the casting of Urta Punjab, which I say Hani Trehan, I think, who did a phenomenal job. These are actors that there is no way that you can actually know anything about unless it's a structured process. Similarly, so with what you've introduced has taken that structure and given it more definite structure. So I think it's completely fantastic, and one doesn't need to depend on nepotism to get talent on celluloid now. You could find it, in theaters, you could find it in regional cinema, you could find it on digital formats, you could find it on television shows. And it will all be kind of streamlined with your concept, and I think it's phenomenal. How does it change and create content was your second question. Well, obviously, I think that when you do find the kind of exceptional talent that is available to you through the digital format, it of course makes you think and create characters and makes you kind of change things, and you don't follow the conventional path of creativity. I think it does give you an open up windows and doors, as I said earlier. And I'm vastly excited about the possibilities. A lot has changed, and I think it's time for us to acknowledge that as well in the movies. I think we're not making the kind of content that we used to. There is a paradigm shift in terms of what we want to project our cinema to be. There will always be the mainstream, there will always be the playing to the gallery, but there is also so much unusual filmmaking that is going on that is finding a large acceptance. Then similarly, like what, I think what you said about Samir, like, there is so much digital television about it, there are web series, there are so many formats and portals that can actually take our entertainment and give it a totally different color altogether. It's not just film. Film is not the be-all and end-all of anyone's existence. I keep saying that film is maybe aspirational. Film is like the big screen medium. But let me tell you, there is a large diminishing effect of the power of film. It'll always remain as the mother of all entertainment. Celluloid will always have its charm. We can't call it celluloid anymore, actually. It's digital. So that itself kind of kills a certain aspect. But I mean, everything is moving to different formats. If you go to America, I mean, what is, barring the big event film, the franchise film, or the adaptation of this tremendous book, the film, the regular film, has completely made its way to television.
Right.
Everyone is watching. So there's so many opportunities that give so many opportunities to music, to actors, to all kinds of talent, that, they shouldn't just feel like that bomb Mumbai and the film industry is your big dream. It used to be the big dream. It's now not a nightmare, but it's definitely between a dream and a nightmare.
No, so
No, but
we're
what
definitely
interesting,
betting.
Karan, is that actually going to have to play around with. You can actually layer your films. So, as a director, even if your content writer has made it unidimensional, when you actually deal with your talent on the floor and they give you 5 options on the same character in terms of the running role, you start making your content far more complex, because you don't make it for the lowest common denominator. You make it much more sophisticated, you make it much more complex, and that is what actually good casting is all about. It gives the director such a lot of options to actually take the basic content and layer it.
Yeah.
And layering is actually going to be what is going to be the future.
Yeah. So I want to just pose one kind of question to Samir sir. जितना reality shows बन रहे हैं अभी इंडिया में, how does this impact the auditions for that? Because once I had the fortune of actually going to one of these auditions that a cousin was doing in Jaipur. How does this help you guys?
But actually, you see, one is about the reality show auditions, is that there's a thrill in doing that, as into going to the cities and having the big lines, because that makes a good television, and it looks nice, it shows the whole city is activated. But what it does, most importantly, is that, of course, something like this allows a lot more people to participate, a lot more people to sort of send in their entries, whether they are freaks or whether they are genuinely talented. But either way, it's a real opening it up. Right. And the more important thing, just to echo what Karan is saying, is that in the few years, this whole content business is going to explode. Yeah. And it's like a monster that needs to be fed. Yeah. It needs talent. It needs lots of new talent. And while movies is like the gold standard, but everything else in the business, whether TV or online or events or just performances, anything.
Advertising.
Yeah. So I mean, I think to echo a little bit what Karan was saying earlier, films is the granddaddy of them all, as they call the Rose Bowl in the U.S. But and it is there's a massive style factor to it. But for a platform like this, we definitely believe that digital content, ad films, and then television is going to be the biggest platform that it can be in terms of people that come on and post their profiles. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up to the audience a little bit for a few questions and then to the media. So where's our first question here?
I want to add one.
Yes,
thing.
sir.
Is that in your, format, there's one small missing point. See, the biggest hurdle that we have today, as far as entertainment is concerned, is content writers. Okay, there is, I find no space or an area to perform for content writers.
Yeah.
Because first we underpay them. We don't treat them with the due respect that they get everywhere else in the world. And so not too many young content writers want to be content writers. They actually prefer to be directors.
Yes.
So when you find a content writer who's even halfway, talented, He said, I don't want to write for somebody else. I want to write for myself. I want to be a director. So directors are given a haloed position. Content writers actually have no place even on your format to actually display themselves.
Yeah, so just a slight correction on that, sir. The last piece that was in the demo was upload your own script or upload your own content. So we made a very conscious effort actually to focus on that, right? Which is, the world is just not about actors and actresses and dancers and DOPs. They're only really as good as the content that you give them to perform on, right?
No, but see, you have to understand one thing. Our film industry as such is relatively illiterate. Nobody reads. Nobody reads. So you have to actually narrate a script. So when you say upload your script, it's going to go into the bin. When you turn around and say narrate your script, that's a different format altogether.
I think, Pranad, lots has changed. I think you're still, like Karan says, you're talking about the 80s and the 90s.
No,
Things
but
have
nobody
changed
reads,
a little bit.
even now.
I don't know, at least for the films I do
Everybody
as a
says,
composer.
give me a narration.
It's not true. I think it's there's this very small percentage now that doesn't read. I mean, at least from my knowledge, from my experience, as of now, a lot of people read. Even film composers who normally, like, situation kya hai bata do aur hum log gana karenge. Even they've been given scripts and one reads this. I mean, at least I do.
No, among the film fraternity, the music fraternity, they've definitely learned how to write music Sunday. And they're not sort of taking it off the top of the head or lifting it from somewhere else, which used to be the practice. Right. So I find that there's a difference there. There are people who read, but I don't think even now in the mainstream film industry, writing is the best way to get through to anybody. They all want a narration.
Yeah. So I think we're going to do our best we can to actually make that come alive on the platform, and I think that's great feedback, sir.
You should have a little section where you can just upload a narration.
I think I'm just going to have an artificial. I'm going to have an artificial intelligence thing that can actually read the script that you put up there.
That's pretty good.
Verbally.
Also, just a suggestion. I mean, just
please.
on a soft note, that if there is some way you can send a friend request internally within TN.
That's interesting.
So I can be friends with a singer. I can be friends with a composer within TN.
Yes, sure.
It's a cool way to just interact.
No, Salim,
that builds the fraternity.
You've actually talked about the next evolution of our product.
Yeah, this kind of
build
builds,
a network.
This sort of builds, so when people see pictures and they can, even though I'm a composer, I'd like to see a picture of a singer.
Right.
I mean, apart from just working, or a picture of the actor and sort of, be friends
bounce
with.
Off ideas.
Yeah, so it's nice. You just create a community within TN.
No, and that's the holy grail for us, Salim, is the idea, the ethos of this is not just around discovery of talent and content creation and eventual casting, but it's really creating a network of like-minded people, as we say often, to be able to interface within themselves. And the next evolutions that you'll see of our platform in the next 6 to 9 to 12 months is actually going to give you exactly that. And I think, particularly for your industry, that interaction continuously of the global genre of music that's out there is very critical. Is very critical. So questions. Where are the mics here? Yeah. Sure, go for it. Do you think good looks overpower talent? Yeah.
I mean, that's... I don't know what your concept of good looking is. It could be different from mine. But I think if I use the word conventional, I think the biggest superstars of this country probably don't conform to traditional and conventional good looks. So obviously, to answer that question, I don't think it has anything to do with the way you look, because, beauty just stops at a point and talent has to take over. Right. Because beauty, as you know, and no matter how poetic we get about beauty, after a point it does fade. And talent has to take over, because eventually, if you're not talented, I don't think you can stand a chance on any entertainment format.
So I think we had a question up there.
Hello. Yeah. Hi. Good afternoon. Mr. Ashutosh, my question is directed to you. You started your career with acting and then ventured into multiple things. So how important do you think it is today for a talent to pitch a multiple skill set?
No, I don't think a talent should project too many things at a time. He needs to have one core talent that he should project.
And then grow into other things.
The others can follow. Because if you don't have that focus, it also kind of deviates from what the employer is looking at. you know, you don't want to be told that मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ, मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ, ये भी कर सकता हूँ. And you're like, one sec, I just want, but can you do this? I just want a singer or an actor. So I think you should focus on one strain first, one stream, and then open your wings.
Okay, we have one over here on the right side.
Is this working?
Yep.